This is a testicle run.
Test run. Cum run.
Hi.
Cum run.
Cum run.
Where's
Cum
the cum? Gotta run. Get the cum.
Run. Cum fun run.
Hey, I need 5 barrels of cum. Make a quick run.
Cum fun run.
Come on the run.
EWERRUN. Be run. CW. Come run.
Come run.
Title I was thinking was cum/blood for money.
For me, I title it "Blood in My Cum."
Blood till I come.
It's so funny. Before I started recording, I go, Pat, which one do you want to start with? You're like, oh no, Cum Run has to do with No More Heroes. And
yeah.
There we go. Welcome to a brand new episode of No More Heroes. Somehow today's topic will correlate to a cum run.
Get on now, little whaley. Yeah, that's
man.
right. Yeah, this one. This one.
That's right. Welcome, little cowpokes. Today we are going to talk about the age-old cum run. Back when the West was formed, we took out all the engines. We stole all their cum. We actually bought their cum for 2 jewels.
Yeah. We invited their cum into our let's just say ownership. Yeah, I'm retarded. I'm more retarded than I even.
Pat, did you know?
No. I can stop you right there. No.
No. Did you know that the settlers bought all the cum in Manhattan for $37?
Just a couple shiny rocks.
Just a cup, $37.
God damn.
Every drip of cum in old Manhattan.
And that's $37 nowadays. That's about 20 cents then.
Oh my God! You multiply that for inflation, that's got to be about $34. No, inflation's gone up. My joke didn't make sense.
Andy, do you like orcas? I mean, this is an age-old question. What's your feeling about whales?
I was gonna. Honestly, I regret I didn't take more down back in my day. You know what I'm saying? I was a bit of a.
What?
I regret not fucking more fat chicks.
Oh.
I'm more partial to the skinny gals, but once I truly started to understand love, it made me realize that every woman has something to offer. You don't just have to be superficial. And that's why I regret not making love to big women.
Yep. They needed it the most, Andy.
Also, they look like they're the best at head. Short of, the crown always goes to black ladies with a Family Guy in the background. They give the greatest. A black lady in a dark room with Family Guy or Martin on in the background is, without a doubt, giving the world's greatest head. Yeah. Second to that, big lady who didn't get enough respect.
Yeah, not even respect, but just attention, I think. Like, if you mix daddy issues with a couple pounds overweight.
Dude, we used to live in a whole different time period. Like, people don't even appreciate how fucking crazy. Like, I used to watch that show Rescue Me. Mm-hmm. There was a whole subplot to the show that the guy was secretly dating a fat lady. And the same way as, dude, there was a subplot in what was the biker show?
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. The one dude had, his dad was like half black, and he didn't want the gang to find out because he thought they would have like kicked him out. It was the same level of intensity of the firefighter hiding that he was fucking a fat lady.
Yeah, like they actually played dramatic music when it was like when he was trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Like nowadays they play like little kind of fun music or something like that, and he'd just be like, I can't let him know because they'll never let me live it down. Like,
yeah.
So
no, nowadays if Rescue Me came out now and they put that in the show, they would execute Dennis Leary on live television.
Yeah. And you know what? They should. If you've seen any of his new show, you probably should.
I mean, if you've seen his act, I mean, I liked it better when. Wait, who was it? Who did he steal his act from?
I don't remember. Did he do that?
Yeah.
Is it a Boston guy?
It's
Lenny Clark?
No, Austin. You know the guy who's like prolific, but wasn't as funny as people remember him?
That's a lot.
He's the guy who they think Alex Jones is this guy.
Oh, yeah.
The fuck's his name? I should know his name.
Damn. You're right. Damn. Not Lenny Bruce.
No, not. But he was like a Lenny Bruce type guy.
Yeah, he's that guy.
I've actually gone back and looked at Lenny Bruce. Not bad.
Fuck.
You think Lenny Bruce isn't going to age well? It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
We'll think of it. We'll think of it eventually. And that's what we'll title the episode.
Nothing to do with cum.
Yeah, nothing to do with cum whatsoever. It's just this comic that died allegedly too early for his time. God damn it! It's like on the tip of my tongue.
It's bad. I don't remember it.
Yeah, and I can even picture other comics that I like.
He's
got the name.
He's got the joke about. He's got the joke. It's actually insane.
I will say Mitch Hedberg, in my opinion, I like more than this guy.
Oh, Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks.
That's the guy.
That's right, Bill Hicks.
Obviously different lanes of comedy for sure. But I still like, as far as like Greg Giraldo, Mitch Hedberg, those people dying too early, I would say yes. I want to see what they would continue to do.
Yeah.
But like him, like I got it. Like it's like a more drugged out, like introspective Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
You know
dude,
it's like,
he's
like he just goes, oh, hey, oh. Let me explain something to you. Instead of going, he's just like, oh, what if there's starving African
dude, I'm
kids?
I'm real separate on like my comedy and people dropping knowledge. I do not want. That's why I'm like whatever about this new. All respect to the legend Dave Chappelle, but I'm just like whatever about his latest specials because I was just like. I just want retarded silly shit in my stand-up.
Yeah.
Like if a good idea develops, or if like a prolific point develops,
yeah.
But there's some comics, and once again, Chappelle's the GOAT. I'm not trying to shit on him or nothing. It's just
Bill Hicks was very good too.
No, Bill Hicks stole his whole act from Jeff Foxworthy. Actually, a lot of people don't know that. No, it's just when the majority of your set is let me drop some knowledge on you. I'm like, let me head out. Let me go the other direction.
I'm gonna go fart.
But I don't know how we got off on that tangent. I'm in a great mood today. I thought, actually no, this is a drag the late topic. Anyway, what's going on with this cum run?
Well,
I'm so sorry. I'm spiraling today, and I need you so bad in my life right now, Pat.
You asked me, do I have an animal attack for you? And I say, not only do I have one, but I have possibly. One of the most prolific animal killers in our story so far.
Killers?
And you want to talk about like a killer who happens
animals
to be
that kill,
who identify as animals.
Oh, okay.
Killing people who identify as killing animals.
Yeah.
But this was so I brought to you one of I think honestly is I know I say this about each one of them. Not only like from a childhood, this was my favorite animal. But like I had such a connection with whales for so long, and I still love whales so much.
Really?
Yeah, I like it's immensely entertaining to me. Also, as apex predators, man, we suppose that we are on top of the food chain. But my theory that global warming, whether it be man-made or just regular, happens. There are big floods.
Yeah, and
when that happens. We better watch out because orcas are going to come and fuck us up.
They're a funny animal too because like
it's Tilikum.
Can you imagine like favorite. When it was time for you to eat, you were just walking around and you're like, I guess I'll just open my mouth.
Yeah, literally. like orcas are
you don't like sit down to eat anything. Like a fucking lion's going to attack something, they're all going to chow down.
Dude.
A whale is just cruising around and he's like, I'm feeling kind of hungry. Oh.
Or I'm not hungry right now. Better work up an appetite by playing around with this fucking motherfucker. Like a seal. Like you've seen those like clips, I'm sure, of like a pod of orca teaching, like using different methods to hunt. Orcas are probably the most intelligent animal on Earth, possibly.
Really?
But also have developed a special part of their brain, like as an animal, like to feel like feelings, emotions. And things like that. So, like, not only can they comprehend a lot, each pod of orca has their own specific language, has their own specific, essentially, like they can identify other orcas, but they know like.
Oh, so they're like
they're like tribes essentially.
They're like when you go down to South America and every 20 miles there's like a new a new bend on Spanish.
Bro, like they have such a weird connection to First Nationers in every continent.
So you're saying certain orcas get really mad when you call them Mexican?
Bro, do not use the word Eskimo around a fucking... They are Inuit American orcas. Don't even play that shit around these motherfuckers. So orcas are basically Like I was incredibly attached to them as a child. Like Free Willy was a huge thing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I loved that movie because obviously,
and a good chunk of the time, the attachment was purely out of confusion.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, oh, you're a fish.
Oh no, they took him from his mom too. Wait, hold on. What is the point of view of this movie?
You're like, I look just like you guys. And then you jumped into the water and you're like, I can't breathe underwater. Wait a minute, I got to reassess this.
Bro, I am telling you right now that as far as animal, let's say, on the side of, let's say, and this is all allegedly because SeaWorld is quite litigious.
Oh, really?
But, oh, yeah. Also, Marine Land and Sea Land and all of the different versions. There's Canadian versions. There's San Diego. There's Mexico. There's been attacks. Pretty much, can I tell you right now? No reported attack of an orca to human at all ever reported in the wild. Also, could have been they just killed somebody. And
also, you got to go pretty...
they just didn't find them.
You got to go... Yeah, well, that's the thing. To get to an orca, you got to go pretty fucking far out.
In most cases, yeah.
And then a lot of times it's like, especially like now, because you can't move... I feel like the ocean's similar to the sky. If you want to maneuver in certain areas, you got to check in with someone.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, everyone's got fucking radar. So that's why, we did an episode on... the Malaysian flight. Right. That's why that's so crazy, is because everyone's being like monitored in those situations. But
new suspect could be orcas.
Yeah, but Mallorca. Orcas don't like Malaysians.
Maybe those Mallorcas are up to some malarkey.
That's when the orcas and Malaysians start breeding. We've got Mallorcas. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Like a lot of it could just be like Even if the boat disappears on radar or however the fuck they track them, they're like, they don't know it was a fucking orca.
Like even orcas are out in the wild will have been known to attack whaling ships because just for fun. Like they're just fucking because they don't like the boat the motor. Sorry, they don't like what they're doing if they're taking their food, whatever it is.
Sorry to all sea captains, but they very funny. Sorry, right there. Yeah. Well, also too, people got to remember too, because we think a lot of people view the world as, and this is the case when it comes to like cities and stuff like that, but a lot of people view the world as humans live in it and there's just animals that exist around it. And you forget when you go into certain areas, it's like when people see a bear come into town in like a wooded neighborhood and shit like that. Yeah. It's like, yeah, dude, this is still a lot of his place.
Right.
So that's the thing where a lot of times, because I've heard this you may have told me this actually. I've heard someone say this, they're defensive sharks, where sharks aren't like, they attack out of the sense of like protecting their area. Yeah. They don't go hunting for humans to eat and stuff like that. And that sounds like the same thing with orcas, where it's like, yeah, dude, you're on their turf.
Yeah.
And they're going to protect their block.
So we'll get into some of and this is how orcas are captured and brought in. I did a lot of research through, there's a great interview. I can't remember the fucking guy's name. I wanted to actually check in and try to find it, but there's I'm sure if you Google
interviewed an orca.
No.
How do you feel about Kanye?
It's not even orca related. Good points.
What?
We just said how intelligent these guys are.
Have you seen the Red Cross numbers?
Basically how Kanye explains how intelligent he is, orcas actually are. Like they're very empathetic, they're very understanding, and they're very emotional and very tribal creatures. Like as far as like but I want to get into some of the ways that they're brought into captivity. So like in their like Puget Sound in 1970, there's like
great hardcore band,
right?
Yeah, that was actually Gigi Allen's first band.
Puget Sound. But there's there's a practice basically where whaling ships are like herd like whale pods into these coves to try to like basically trap them, throw a net up, and then just separate the smaller ones from the bigger ones. The smaller ones being the babies, and the bigger ones being their parents.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah, what up?
What's where do babies come from? No. What would you, the average orca, what would you correlate the size to? Is like an 18-wheeler too big?
No, it's so Tilikum was a really gigantic one, like or pretty big one, I believe.
What's his name?
Tilikum.
Anyway,
was brought into in 1992. Was already considered one of the larger ones. He's a large bull whale.
Nice.
And he was about 12,000 pounds. But there's also, let's see, I'm trying to see the actual stats of, because I know I have one.
I'm better with lengths. Pause.
But there are definitely ones that are like essentially thousands of pounds. Like they're
big fuckers.
Yeah, they're big fuckers.
So like they would like
12,000 to maybe 22,000.
Because when you tell me like a boat is like wrangling 4 of them together.
Well, no. So what happens? Like the practice that they would use would be like, and they've done this before, and this is showing how intelligent even like orcas are. That like even ones in this area in Washington will be herded into these coves, basically scared, using like bombs. They use boat engines. Like,
what?
Yeah, they're throwing bombs into the ocean to like
throw bombs at them.
Yeah, no, not at them. Just to like literally to go like essentially like dance for me, motherfuckers. Like they're scaring them. Yeah, literally. Yeah, they're literally like so when the whales try to escape certain ways, they'll like throw down mines or something like that.
That's crazy.
To get them. So, but the whales learn these practices, and what they would do is the male whales would like all the bulls would go this way, and the boats would realize that there's nothing that they could like salvage from them or whatever.
Yeah.
But the mothers and the babies would go into another alcove or whatever. But they had planes. It was diabolical.
Wait, they would separate families?
Bro, I'm telling you.
Dude, do not get AOC at the fence of this. She will be crying.
I am not joking with you. They would throw the nets up, then start separating some of the babies.
Yeah.
And start like taking them because the babies were
the whales would be like, this baby was born in America. We can stay here.
This is the anchor baby.
This is an
but
no, actually, your anchor's in my baby.
But they would separate them, and then when they drop the nets down to basically say like, all right, you can head out.
Yeah.
They would just hang out there and just be like just wail essentially, like literally crying out, like instead of swimming away, attacking the boats or anything like that.
It's so interesting how many sort of tiers of animals there are.
Yeah.
Where it's just like there'll just be what the like there's some birds, I don't know how true it is, but there's the fucking thing like if a baby bird falls out of the nest and you touch it, the mom's just like, ew, it's gross now.
Yeah.
And then it's like if you separate these whales, they will fucking start writing poems about their sorrow.
This is it. It's like it's definitely depressing, but it's also incredibly illegal. A lot of the people that are doing especially this particular practice.
Sure,
and for companies like SeaWorld and other like somewhat reputable companies to be a part of it, it's pretty questionable because they were even asking certain workers that like some whales would die in this process, like either trying to escape or hop over the nets or something like that, and they could die in this process. And they say that was a really weird thing too, because Blackfish is a great resource for this because it's a lot of ex-trainers and people that were involved. Also, the thing I was trying to say earlier was there was a Joe Rogan experience with a trainer, I believe, from Marineland from Canada that ended up literally bonding with a walrus, essentially where it imprinted on him. That's what it's called. When they're born, like in these environments with these trainers. And I use trainers very loosely. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Legitimately shocking why they would call them trainers.
Yeah.
Not just people in wetsuits.
That feed them.
Just human wetsuit people. Like essentially,
really?
Yeah, because there's not.
What's like the process of becoming a trainer?
You get tryouts. See how you do with the animals.
They're like their application process is
a chemistry test.
No,
let's see what you look like on camera with this whale.
Wait.
Nope, he's no good.
Wait, it's literally someone going, why don't you get in there with him?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So it's like,
dude, I always, not to cut you off, I always go, it's like when I realized I was learning a bunch about the FBI and they would just like call MLK up and they'll be like, yo, we have video of you cheating. You're a fucking pussy. And you go, everyone, like, we've been tricked into thinking that everything has a structure and a process, and so much of life is just people doing shit.
This is the realization and the inspiration for this series, and probably going to be our finale for the month of Siegfried and Roy, where we were like, they just got away with it. It's a theme, dude. It is a theme so far through every one of these series, no matter if it's a professional, like a company, a reputable LL fucking C, or whatever, like SeaWorld or Marineland or Sealand or any of these other lands. So fascinating that they just like, it's waivers somewhat, but it's also a lot of and cover-ups. It is a lot of cover-ups, just like those other stories, where like not only are there things happening, but people are sweeping them under the rug, not reporting them. Well, a lot of the trainers would say, like, yeah, when I started my job as a trainer in SeaWorld, I was not made aware of every, any animal attacks, any animal altercations with any of the SeaWorld, because a lot of times they would suppress footage. Yeah. They would suppress stories. Like, things would get reported on, but they would then just, like a fucking Catholic priest, go like, well, now we're going to send them over to this place. Instead of San Diego, now they're in SeaWorld Orlando. Instead of SeaWorld Orlando, they're going to go to SeaWorld Mexico. They kept going down and down.
So interesting, too, like, learning about these things over the past 3 weeks and then next week, and like how animal training on these levels, like, clearly you can train a dog to do insane shit, and there's like domesticated animals you can train the fuck out of, but like when it comes to these shit, like with like you said, chimps and apes and sea animals and shit like that, like the whole training process is not an exact science, or it doesn't even seem like there's a science. And then that always makes me go, like, with this whole, wanting to watch an animal show, or just in general wanting to go to the zoo, right, it almost becomes like a chicken or an egg scenario. Are these animal trainers filling this void because we have this overwhelming, we need to see animals do tricks? Or are they like, I will tame the savage beast and make him do tricks?
Yeah, a lot of them, and this is why...
And then they create the market of watching animals do tricks.
Well, this is why I was, like, not only as a kid very interested in this, but very connected to the story, especially because growing up in Florida, I loved
catching fish in your mouth.
Was my favorite place. It was.
Oh, you used to go a lot.
Yeah, like that was like that, and with the Free Willy thing, with like I had a subscription to Zoo Books. Like, I would crush Zoo Books. I would. That's the only reading I would do. Like, is shit that I was truly interested in. So I was connected to these things, but I could totally have seen myself being a trainer if I knew all you had to do was want to do it. Like, a lot of them were swimmers or like people that had, but they would get these attachments, because that's the thing, is a lot of these trainers had personal connections, or at least felt personal connections with these animals, just like the grizzly man or Travis the chimp, where a lot of the cases could be the whale just, possibly playing around.
You'd also too be a better trainer, because you seem like you give an overwhelming amount of a shit.
Yeah, I would actually, and that's why the thing with the guy from Marineland was so compelling, because the
guy on Rogan,
or what did I say? Oh yeah, the guy from
Marineland who was on Rogan.
Sorry, yeah, that his story was, it's again heartbreaking, because like when these animals are separated from somebody they've imprinted on, they don't eat, they become incredibly depressed, and they start to like actually wither away. So
yeah, that's the shit what happens when you take them from their mother and they like they get too attached to a trainer.
And a lot of these trainers have this personal burden of responsibility that they're like, I don't want to do anything to get this whale in trouble. So like there's that kind of personal thing. Yeah. Like, if there is a thing, they would not help suppress it, but help to give out misinformation about some
because it's like
of whales.
It's like their whale kid.
They're taught this. Essentially, they're just they're taught that this is all normal, but they're called experts and they're put out there as experts, so they kind of identify as experts. So they go, a normal lifespan of a whale is about 30 years. Not true. In the wild, their females can live up to 100 years.
Is this based off like interviews you'd see?
This is literal camera footage of like people
Sea
giving
World
tour guides.
people.
Yeah, they're going like,
that's like you get.
It's normal. About 50% of whales have the bent dorsal fin, and they're like, no, it's like 1% of that has been reported in the wild. Period.
Dude,
that is specifically based to them not having room to. It's based on like their location, their mood, all this other shit.
That shit fascinates me because there's nothing. Because I podcast endlessly. There's millions of hours of me on stream and stuff like that. And my biggest fear is for some random YouTuber to make a compilation breakdown video of like, here's everything retarded Andy said. Now you have to get popular for that to happen.
Incredibly flattering for me. Like, just be like, thanks for watching hours of my show.
Thanks for watching,
even if it's hate watching.
Thanks for watching anything I do.
Thanks for the engagement.
But no, it's like, so I'm always, you'll hear me like overcorrect things I say because I'm so worried about saying something really fucking inaccurate. Like I'll say something inaccurate because I just don't know, but like at the same, like, and I'm just like fucking dumb in general. But to be like I am a whale expert and to get fucking whale facts that wrong is hilarious.
Well, and to never ever do apparently your own
to never
research.
check.
Yeah. Because it's like it's all Googleable, it's all researchable. If you really were whale experts, I understand.
I do that on stream all the time. I say something, I go, wait, let me check that, and you double check in real time.
Understand that, like, if SeaWorld was giving you this information, I would probably also consider it credible. Now, since a lot of their practices are being, and not again, I don't want to just put this all in SeaWorld or anybody in particular. But the whaling practices in general of how they capture them, again, just to go into gruesome detail, the whales that die in these processes are cut open, filled with rocks. These were orders for the people to do this. Like, take care of this. And even still...
Wait, are you talking about, like, at post-whale attack, they're getting rid of a whale?
No. This is while we're back at 1970 when they're actually catching and trapping some of these baby whales.
To bring them to where? Like SeaWorld? Or just use them for their whale parts?
They would say, these whales are dead. We need them to go away. Fill them with rocks, tie anchors to their tail, and sink them so nobody will see them. Like, because it turns out it's incredibly illegal. Washington cracks down on this. So instead of stopping this practice, any of these companies stop working in Washington and just move to Iceland. They go out they start doing the same thing out there, essentially.
Oh,
so they're the bombs. They're doing this. They're stressing or panicking.
Oh, they're just going where they can use their bombs.
Right. Yeah. That's it. That's all. So so like it's
so
1976 is when they.
It makes sense that they're doing that because it's illegal.
They were asked not to return. So still 6 more years after like this was officially. I saw the footage shown is in Blackfish. So asterisk if you don't believe that shit. I do. I do think that there is a crazy not cover up, but just overlooking. Like you don't think while you're there, like this is crazy. You think they're super intelligent. They like doing all the tricks and stuff like that. You just kind of put it out of your mind. I don't know.
Can I be honest? You know what I think it is too? Like I remember they were talking about it a bunch with like wrestling now, like wrestling being safer, or like the CTE stuff with football. And people were like, oh, they were hiding it from people, or how did people not know? And I got to be honest, maybe this was just because I was younger. I would just I think it just was out of people's minds. They just didn't really fucking think about it. And I think it's the same thing with like, a zoo or SeaWorld or whatever. It's not even a matter of like, they like doing it. You're like, I mean, it's got to be on the up and up. Someone would do something about it.
And that's part of it. Like, so even as a kid, I went there, and I remember one of the strongest memories I have was going into Shamu Stadium, walking right next to the actual tank. That's what it's called.
No, I'm not making fun of you. It's just that's a hilarious sentence.
Bro,
I walked into Shamu Stadium.
But even as a kid, I could
watch the Whales versus the Orcas. And then, we won by 2 touchdowns. It was almost a blowout.
Whales. But it was so like the I can't think of like the vastness, like the depth that you could just walking past, because there's like these big, glass, like you can see through essentially, where you can see, and like it was crazy because you're talking about somebody would do something. There's probably some kind of protocol and whatever. I don't know. Yeah. There's footage. And this is the thing. At the time, I think I would have chickened out, but up until that point, walking next to that and just kind of feeling the size of just the tank that the whale is in. Yeah. And the whale still looks really big in that tank. You're like, holy shit, how big is that fucking whale? As a little kid, I probably would have been one. They're setting kids on the whales. Like the whale comes up on the little shallow end and they put a kid and set it right on the whale. Yeah. And you're like, there's nothing stopping the other whale from just hopping up and going, Herp, and just like, oh, true. It just didn't happen. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. Is, again, with the number of shows a day, the amount of abusive practices used to train whales over many, many different ways, the practices of training a whale is oftentimes starvation. They would really? They just deprive you of something. And could be, again, spoiler alert, possibly the cause of our last subject of the day, Miss Dawn Brancho from 2010. So they would use fish.
I'm so excited to see how this correlates to cum.
Bro, you're gonna be.
We're 30 minutes in. I haven't heard one thing about cum. I'm on the edge of my seat. Wait. I'm on the edge of my seat.
So they would, like, basically a lot of the places not only capture the whales in incredibly horrific fashions. Yeah. But again, there's enough separation between the quote trainers and the process of capturing the whales that they don't think of the horrific means in which they've gotten here.
You know what's funny? They do the same process with summer camps. Yeah. They just, you know who watches your kid at summer camps? Teenagers who want the job.
Yeah, teenagers who want the job and adults to chaperone them and your kids.
And most of the people there are not older than 25. And as two people in their mid to late 30s, you realize 25-year-olds are still children. So you're just hiring older children to watch younger children, and the older children are more preoccupied with fucking and doing drugs.
Okay, so we're going to go full stop. Are you ready to come? I just wanted to do a full stop after the kid talk to ask you that question, because in 1983...
I'll have the viewers will be shocked. Not the first time he's asked me that today.
First time on mic.
Dude, I woke up. First text. You ready to come?
You ready to come?
Every day, brother.
1983, male infant orca was captured in the North Atlantic, already 2 years old. He was 11 and a half foot long. His name became Tilikum.
Oh, okay.
4 years old. At 4 years old, he was already working at Sealand in Canada. Sealand had simply what?
I'm just making stupid jokes in my head. Just like my wife being like, "Are you done yet?" Not till I come. It's the same sound. But I'm more of a seal, right? Yeah. When the cum leaves my body. Belly. Yeah. Oh, that was a good cum. Oh, great pussy today, baby.
Just cracking her shell was open.
God, I hate how much I laugh at myself.
So, Sealand had simply a net separating the sea.
Where was this at?
In Canada.
Canada.
So I think it's Vancouver, British Columbia, but it's Canada. Canada's Canada. But they have like a dock and like the enclosure, like where the whales show is. It's kind of like just the sea and the actual like ocean, or it's just separated by a net. Like they just have a net separating it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they're kind of as far as conditions wise, it's not some big chlorine pool. It's at least like a it's somewhat their natural habitat, but it's not necessarily good either. By that time, Tilikum was already
even the best zoo or any of that shit. You're like, no, it's exactly like their natural habitat, but like really fucking small.
Yeah, we put some trees in there. Sealand has simply just a net. By the time, just for this, he's 4 years old. He's already 16 feet long and already 4,000 pounds, over 4,000 pounds. Sorry, and there was no actual formal training for the whales. They just simply used one of those means as like starvation or anything like that. They would tell them to do something, and then they didn't do it. They just wouldn't feed them, but they would feed them if they did the thing. But there's no there's no like process where they go like, here what? And again, orcas come from each other's they're like each individual tribe, so they may not be able to necessarily communicate properly with each other.
Yeah,
they become aggressive to each other. So when Tilikum's introduced into this environment, he's like immediately attacked by the female whales, and they start raking him. A process of raking is where they drag their teeth along them, along their back. And he's not really attacking back.
It's honestly kind of hot.
Yeah. So like these two may have been getting along, and they're just attacking the hell out of him. So as soon as he gets introduced to this new
it causes friction.
So they separate them. But a lot of times when they separate them, or keep them, they would keep them in this tiny enclosure, and it's basically they would go. It's a metal enclosure. It was kept dark, and basically whenever they're not performing, which is like 2/3 of their life, they're kept in this enclosure with those aggressive whales. So like he can't really get anywhere or maneuver away from them because he's so big.
Yeah.
He's just kind of trapped, getting multiple attacks, and like they would find crazy rake wounds on him, all this other stuff. And then 1987. Sorry. You were going to say something. This is a different thing.
Oh, no. I'm just thinking about, because, the training process, I was watching some shit about training a dog, and it's like, you don't need to do all that crazy shit to train a dog, and it's because dogs and cats are, companion-type animals.
Yeah.
And it's this whole, all these stories you're telling me, you're like, no, these animals are the lead singer. Yeah. They're not a background dancer.
Yeah.
And you can't tell them to do that. Right. You know what I mean? It's like
if you meet one of them out in the wild, and every time you go out in your boat at 2:00, you give them a fucking halibut, they would probably come up. They're closer to feral cats than they are like a dog doing tricks.
Yeah, and the whole it's one thing. I'm not a huge fan of zoos and stuff like that, but it's one thing when it's we're more here to rehabilitate animals that are hurt, and then they've been here for so long, it's going to be hard to send them back out to the wild. Whatever, give them a big open space and let them hang out. It's like when they start making them do tricks, you're like, why do we got to do that? There's just let nature be nature. There's just some things you don't get to do. You don't get to teach orcas tricks,
dude. It's not even just the fact that because again, that's the thing. When these people are introduced to the whales, they build their own systems. They just say, this is how we train whales, and this is how we become most effective. So if these two whales learn this way, that's how we're going to train all whales.
Yeah.
And those whales might not be. So just imagine if you brought...
because whales are much more unique than just there's no one way to train a whale.
You can train. This is how I'm a German Shepherd trainer. I know this is the habits of most German Shepherds. There's no whale expert at the helm, because if there wasn't a whale expert at any of these facilities, they would say, let them go.
Yeah.
Don't get on them. Don't get in the water with them. So I tried to go chronologically. So I'm going to skim through these because I really want to focus on Tilikum's victims, especially. But I want to talk about, there's a 1987, just to give you an example of, these are things that are happening while a lot of the trainers in Blackfish started probably mid to early 90s or something like that, or Sealand or any of these people, and they honestly kind of just assumed, we talk about all the time, this happened, so They must have like they're gonna do something with him to make sure that never happens. Okay, they're gonna make sure that he's like,
dude, that's the big
history doesn't repeat itself, and they're like, no. They're just gonna cover it up and just move him to another spot. Like that's all they do.
That's like the huge mental shift that I think has gone, that a lot of people have went through over the last couple of years, like post-COVID.
Yeah.
Is just to put in the simplest of terms, a lot of people who've been saying they got it, don't got it. Like, don't worry about it. We got it. A lot of those people, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I think it's the thing where not even that they don't know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing, but they don't know what the fuck the whale's doing.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
In a
that
lot
makes
of these
sense.
scenarios, because so in a lot of these like scenarios, including the Don Branchos, anytime there is a trainer involved in an accident, it is 100% of the time deemed trainer error. So 1987, SeaWorld San Diego, John Sillick was crushed by a whale and deemed trainer error.
No, I read about that one.
That.
On the paper, they were like, you shouldn't have been under the whale getting crushed by him.
And
I have no idea what
were you doing laying under that whale?
Yeah.
No,
what are you doing?
No, he was there's a video of it. He's riding the whale, one whale.
Oh my God.
On the back, like just straight up, like just fucking yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's going this way, and then the other whale goes, boom.
It just flips?
Right, just lands on the other whale. That's another practice that they do. Like that's not playing. It was attacking that whale and or him.
Oh.
So this might have been the perfect
bucking them off.
This was the tag team fucking put him up. Like,
oh, you hit him with the D3?
Yeah, like they fucking got him up, and then this other one went right onto him.
The one whale goes, and the guys are like, "What's he saying?" He's saying, "Devon, get the tables."
Tilikum, get the table. Like that's and then
that's whale. Actually, that's whale for waza.
1988, a whale in captivity rammed another one so hard it gave him a hemorrhage, and that whale bled out in that the other tank.
No.
So like,
were these all during shows?
No, this one was, I believe, after hours. The other one was during a show. Did
they kill the guy or hurt him?
So this is really interesting. Another one rammed it, bled out. It was described as a fellow trainer. I added this to the wrong one. So that one where the guy was attacked by the
whale
crushed,
flipped. The whale hit him with a crossroads.
This is my one of the craziest descriptions. Look, we just talked about a lady's face getting eaten up last week, right?
Yeah. This
guy, his body was basically held together by his wetsuit. Like
wait.
When the guy, so he survived.
So wait, what pieces broke inside?
The pieces that
all
were
of his
inside,
bones?
All the pieces that were inside him kind of broke. He's had multiple surgeries and is explained never ever been close to the same since. Like everything.
So did he just break everything in his body? All of his bones, all of his
like that's as specific as I got was this part. Like anything but his brain, so that way he'll remember.
Neck down was just fucked.
Yeah. His
makes
neck, his back, his pussy, and his crack were switched. They shuffled all of those things.
Yo, and those wetsuits are tight.
Right. So like, he might have just been like, no, just get off. Can we just leave this on for
oh my God.
Can we just pour some glue in there?
Dude, that's insane. Because he had like the wetsuit was like an exoskeleton keeping everything together.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
This is not chronological as much, but we'll go back to the Tilikum ones because I want to talk about this other one. 1991. Or sorry, 1991. I apologize.
Yes.
February 20th, an employee, Kelty Byrne, who was a professional swimmer. I believe she was an Olympic hopeful. She was a swimmer. So like that's a lot of the times the people that are into it are into also like marine, like snorkelers, professional divers, like scuba divers. It is already an interest of theirs.
Because I feel like the whale shit's not like. Is that a career or is it something you do?
They get paid.
You get paid good?
Yeah. Oh, look, it's for exposure. Actually, it is pretty funny because there is one guy, the guy I was going to bring up. Oh, fuck it, I'll talk about it. Ken Peters was a trainer who was essentially tortured in front of a crowd. he had he was like he had the it was the last Shamu show of the day, and the whale pulled him to the.
He didn't attack him. He just exposed him for some racist text messages.
Brother, this guy, you want to talk about terror? This guy was like just hanging out with the whale, and all of a sudden the whale just grabs his. You say gently grabs his foot, sorry, and just swims him down to the bottom of the thing, which is over 2 atmospheres of pressure. For like, so that's what I'm saying.
What a horrifying measurement
for
2 atmospheres.
How confusingly terrifying. What does that mean?
I
know it don't sound good.
I don't fully know what it means, but it sounds horrifying.
So it would pull him gently down for about a minute and a half at a time, and then bring him back up just long enough to get some air, and then pull him back down. It was in front of the crowd, and there is high definition footage of this from multiple angles if you guys want to watch.
Wait. So he would bring him down, right before it would kill him.
Yeah.
And then bring him above water?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't even know if it knew that it was just doing its thing. So then it let go of one of its
so it never really brought him back above water.
It did. Brought him
did.
up for a little bit because it's got to breathe too. It can't. It just can't hang out down there. So it would go down, come back up, and then But every time he would come back up, speaking to people being divers or having experience,
the guy would go, "Seriously, can someone help me?"
No, he was not panicking. He was not thrashing at all. He didn't want to make this fun for it at all. He was talking to the whale, just going like this, and the whale would just go,
and then go back down.
Yep, and then he would come back up, and he'd just kind of be like. So eventually, they threw up a net after. I didn't get the specific time.
How many dips?
Crazy amount of time.
Do you have a time length?
Again, for minutes and minutes, and like for probably I think 20 minutes. I don't think I actually got the actual time, but they would. Oh, sorry, yeah, for a minute and a half at a time each time. So like, it was just having a good old time, not like ripping them anywhere or anything,
just guiding them up and down.
Yeah, but they go back up, and they say. Like they put up this thing, and again, this is such good tape. A lot of these trainers, I'll talk about it a little bit later, they are filming this, like they want the tape.
Yeah,
and if they have a good show, like it's very relatable as far as comics go because it's just like if there's one thing,
like this will go crazy on IG,
right? Yeah. They're like this is gonna be perfect. I got a perfect clip, but as soon as something questionable happens in the show. SeaWorld shuts it down. They say you can't release this. Like even when one guy tries to edit out an incident with Tilikum, they're like
they take the
they're
whole.
Like no, you can't.
Yeah.
So that guy, there's definitely high definition footage of that. But we're back in 1991.
Wait. Did that guy survive?
Yeah.
What happened?
So they put up a net, and he swims. He essentially, as soon as the whale finally just kind of lets go of his other foot, he kind of like quickly swims away because the whale kind of goes this way. But as he's swimming away, the whale's like coming back at him. It's terrifying to watch. Again, he is panicking. Obviously, he goes over the net. The whale and like he gets over to the shallow end. You know? Where they have like just where the whale usually comes up and lays for a little bit. He's like kind of hanging on that, but then the whale just starts coming right over the net. Just smoothly, just going. You know, we can just clear these anytime we want, right? And the guy's like, the guy panics, dude. He gets up to try to run away, but both of his feet are horrifically mangled because they've been in the fucking whale's mouth. So he immediately is falling. It's quite comical, but also horrifically terrifying. But he does absolutely survive. Yeah. Wow. So like it is. These because
I was curious.
These would all be red fucking flags, especially with Tilikum, because it's not an isolated thing. He's getting tortured. This is just think of it as, let's just say they're humans who can't talk and they are only just marine mammals.
You know whose fault this is?
Imagine this happening. What?
You know whose fucking fault this is?
Obama.
That goddamn no head having JFK.
What?
Where you say, yeah, dude, where he's saying shit where he's like, we do not do things because we can. We do them because they are hard, or whatever the fuck he said.
Yeah.
And that's like, dude, that's like the mentality where they're like these should be warning signs to go, stop training whales.
Yeah, stop getting in the water. So even that,
and they're just like, no, we'll figure it out. We're better than them.
It's crazy how little regulation and how little accountability there is. But we're February 20th, 1991. Employee Kelty Brown. Burn.
The whales fucking you up should be all the regulation you need.
Especially at a whale
Take the
place.
fucking hint, dickheads.
She was walking next to the whale enclosure when her foot slipped into the pool, and she kind of fell in. Like, she was just like, doop, 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 whoop. Just a little stupid mistake like that. Truly trainer error, but really anybody could have slipped in if they're walking in that area.
Yeah.
They should have been
It's all
careful,
wet in there.
But,
Slippery as shit.
the whales rushed over and started to attack her. They would pull her into the water just long enough to allow her to panic. They would pull her down into the water and bring her back up just long enough. She was not keeping it cool, apparently. She was absolutely panicking. There are 2 eyewitnesses in the movie Blackfish that explain this story. They were there that day when it happened. And they said that it was the only thing that she had the opportunity to do was the whale would come up for just a second and she would scream, "Help me." Like, and they would take it back down.
You know what's hilarious about whale attacks versus like chimp attacks? Is like the chimp attack is very quick and violent.
Yeah.
The whale attack, because of the water, they
God.
have to kill you in the most elegant way possible. Like you're just getting murdered, and it's like
it's like synchronized. The whale's just like twisting with your arm. Like, that's pretty.
It's like, it is like the most horrifying.
Look at all the bread. Oh,
it is like the most horrifying thing, but the whale's really just going. And down and up and down and up.
So there also was some speculation on which whale did it, but witnesses report it was, quote, the big whale with the flopped dorsal fin, which is Tilikum. So
Tilikum!
This is his first victim, unfortunately.
Was the
Kelty
lady
Brown.
you just said.
So after the incident, it's believed that this was such a stimulating experience. This is.
Oh, he got the taste for murder?
So get this, Andy. The only protocol they do have is they go, wait a minute, those whales might have loved that a killing so much. We got to get them out of here.
They sent him to a new SeaWorld?
They upgraded him to SeaWorld. He went from Sealand in fucking Canada to SeaWorld, motherfucker, in Orlando. It's crazy to me.
That's insane. I didn't know whales could obtain the fucking taste of murder.
Bro, they're worse than priests. So they decided to sew.
That is a good question.
Look at
Would
this.
you be rather locked in a room with a priest or a whale?
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Bro. This is crazy. So they say it's so stimulating for the whales that they're like, we gotta separate them because they like that.
I mean, that's gotta feel good, dude.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like if you're stuck in jail getting to beat up one of the guards?
Guess we're out of fish. That's all right. I got something to eat.
Looks like you're a little bit bigger than a fish.
Hey, what did she just say? Oh, help me? Oh, don't mind if I do help myself. So they say this whale's too dangerous. We're just gonna send him to SeaWorld for breeding.
Let's make a bunch.
Let's make more of these.
Let's make a bunch of giant, violent ones.
Because he's so big. He's a very impressive. I have, spoiler alert, seen Tilikum in person.
Yeah.
I went back.
So you're saying they
2009.
So you're saying they saw Tilikum and they thought, let's use the cum?
Tilikum. I gotta have some of that cum.
Tilikum. I gotta get some cum.
Gimme cum. So
guys, it's not just Tilikum. It's get the cum.
Get that cum. In 1992, he arrives at SeaWorld he's 12,000 plus pounds at this point, and he was immediately attacked by, again, the 2 females in the enclosure, and he was used only at the end of the show, which is why this is the craziest thing. So in 2009, Dom and I, we went there in October of 2009 for a little staycation honeymoon that we did. We hit like Busch Gardens, Adventure Island. We did all the white trash spots, Universal, SeaWorld. We hit every theme park. Like it was so awesome.
I've been there.
But I'm telling you right now, we're sitting in Shamu Stadium and we're watching the whole show, and I'm like, it didn't hit as much as I did when I was a kid, but I'm still immensely fascinated with these animals, and that's why I went. But earlier in the day, I remember that trip, we saw dolphins, and they were literally in this tube. It was probably about this high, maybe, filled with water, and it was only about as wide as they were. And they were just swimming around.
You're just doing laps.
And it was kind of like a VIP pet tank thing. And I'm just like,
yeah,
that's horrific.
Yeah.
Also, how did they get him out of there? So I was
what if
already
too many go in and they get stuck?
I was already kind of fucked up of like, why? I don't know about that. And this is before. This is months. The attack on Don Brancho happened at SeaWorld of Orlando in February. Ironically enough, within days of the original attack in 1991.
No shit.
It happened at February 24th of 2010. We were there in October of 2009. We're sitting there in Shamu Stadium. I'm already kind of going like, I don't know if this is right. And also like, but it's incredible what they're doing. No matter what. And I truly do believe that the trainers they're just dumb. It's like when you go like, there's no way they couldn't know what they were doing was bad. I think honestly, it's like when your dog cries all night because you crate them or something like that. They're like, no, it's good for them. You got to let them get used to it. And it's like, I don't know. This feels kind of like they don't want to be in there.
Yeah.
Making them just like it doesn't feel like.
Well,
so them riding them and jumping up in the air and stuff is still incredibly.
Yeah.
And they're still incredibly amazing animals.
Well,
but it's still like this doesn't feel.
The explanation always of crating animals, they're like, oh no, we do that.
They'll like it.
We do that so when we leave for hours, he's calm in there, and I go. That also sounds bad.
Right, yeah. It's just like one of those things where like when you even just break it down, but I truly do believe that they are not the evil part because they're getting killed and they're not even being told when other people are getting killed this way or like updating their safety procedures, except for Tilikum. Tilikum, after these incidents, are saying
because they needed to come.
Yeah, they need that come, but they're just like, don't get in there and get it yourself. You need a spotter.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I don't blame animals who are held like what's the term they call for like dogs and cats? They're domesticated.
Oh yeah.
Not like non-domesticated animals. I don't blame them for freaking out when they're in a zoo or they're in captivity and shit. The not updating your safety protocols are wild. Is wild.
And that's what I'm saying. Like that. Like I understand if you know the accepted risk that could happen.
Yeah.
But this is like saying that like this is like working in a kitchen going like it's never gonna get busy. Don't worry. And you're like, wait. Even on Fridays and Saturdays, like yeah, it's crazy. We don't even get busy. You're like, wait a minute, and they just get. It just happens.
Or like you had a fucking...
They're just lying to people.
You had a fucking fire or something and they just never got a fire extinguisher. You're like, you're really not going to buy one?
Yeah. You know that it's possible. So when we were at Shamu Stadium watching this shit, I noticed, I swear to God, the thing that stands out to me the most was, I was like, why is everybody getting out of the water? And this big motherfucker comes out. And I'm telling you from almost to the top of the stadium, it looked like it was about half the size of the whole like pool. And
this thing is literally like a football stadium sized place, right?
Yeah. It's incredibly maybe not the football, maybe half a football. Like that.
Not like a pro football, but like it's a big like if you went to a high school stadium or something.
So it's insane to me that like that's just
wild.
The protocol. It's like he's aggressive. We know not to get in the thing with him, and we know not to interact with him too much. But we still want more of them.
It's so funny to be like, oh, is that animal half the size of a football stadium?
This is crazy.
We should keep it in captivity.
This is now as far as the trainer's responsibility. Let's just say of knowing some of this stuff. There was an incident that one trainer brings up in the film Blackfish, where he's saying there was one of the trainers was standing over this like, it's like a railing that was kind of like over the pool.
Okay.
Of the almost like a bridge, like like there's like this part, so like they're standing over this like platform over the water, and the trainer had their wetsuit like top like down around like basically like a flannel like tied around their waist instead of like not zipped all the way.
Oh, like a hot guy in a 90s movie.
Essentially, yeah. And they're going Tilikum, and one of the higher ups went, "Get her out of here right now! Get her out of there right now!" Like freaked out before anything was going on.
Yeah,
they were like, "No, do not." So they know, but the trainers were like, "I thought you told us he was non-aggressive." They were telling the trainers, "This is non-aggressive. Just don't get in the pool with him."
Yeah. Just don't do anything you would do with a non-aggressive whale, but like, he's not aggressive.
Don't look at him. So that's a little crazy, right?
It's so funny. The easiest way to avoid this is to not keep whales in captivity.
This was the thing I was talking about earlier. Another whale trainer was taping the show and captured Tilikum lunging out of the water at one of the female trainers, but SeaWorld was ordered him to destroy the tape. So like that was the one where he said, "I was having a perfect show. It was perfect." And right at the end, like he rides one of the whales up and like into the onto the thing.
They would do they would like slide and go back in.
Yeah, and he would hop off the thing and like the whale went off. But as he was doing that with one of the other trainers, Tilikum was like just went and just kind of tried to grab at her, but missed her. But just because that was in the tape, SeaWorld was like, "You can't take this tape." And he's like, "But he said, I used my editing skill. It just looks like a little glitch in the tape. I cut that part out." And they're like, "No." So they are knowingly, alleged to what this guy is saying, suppressing aggressive behavior being exhibited by Tilikum at trainers after he's already been there. So like he's still in part of the shows where like their trainers are in or near the water.
Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff happens when you have these big organizations or the business of SeaWorld has dumped. Like you got to imagine by the time they're doing this Tilikum show shit, they've invested a fuck ton of money in these whales, and they're just looking at it as like return on investment, and it's just like one of those things where you go, hey man, maybe don't structure your business around playing God.
Well, also like if it costs like, let's just say it costs an astronomical amount of money to house the whales as you are right now, which is incredibly inhumane, considering the amount of territory whales prefer to cover in a day. But also, again, they're much like the cats of the ocean. They just roam. They cover hundreds and hundreds of miles a day. And this is just, again, yes, all zoos are fucked because of the same thing. But with this incredibly intelligent, it's like doing it to humans.
Yeah.
It is like doing it to humans. But it's also like doing it to humans that are somehow more evolved than us.
Well, it's
and remember and learn. So if one of these things finds out in the wild what we're doing to them in captivity, we are cooked.
Well, it's
no more friendly. Hey, it's a kayak. Oh, what's that going on? They're like, oh, this is a crazy experience, eh? Whoa, look at it, it's a whale. They're always terrified because we know what we're doing to them up here.
No, that's a good point you said earlier about them like roaming around, because it's much different. You have to like keep the animals' intelligence, because like whenever you see the factory farm videos and you see how they keep chickens, like. Dude, there's literally crazy shit where they're just nuts to butts at all, like their entire existence, and there'll literally be like some chickens that'll be like, they'll call it cage free just because they have a tiny little area to walk around.
Yeah.
But I will admit, when I see those videos of chickens, I go, they have way less of an understanding of why this is of like this,
bro.
They have way less of an understanding of this than whales do.
That's the perfect moral quandary solver right there. Because if you cut a fucking chicken's head off, they still live for a while.
Chickens don't know what the fuck's going on.
They don't know what's going on.
But I think the problem is... Well, no, I think the problem... Were your parents like this? Like, my parents never...
Alive? Not all the way. About halfway, yeah.
No, I remember... My parents never abused our animals. But, like... You could tell the way, more so my dad, the way they would talk about animals.
Yeah.
There was just more, you're like, yeah, no, it's a fucking toaster I feed. Like, that's how, I feel like back in the day, that was more of an understanding of cats and dogs is shit. Shit. You're like, yeah, this is a coaster. This is a toaster I feed that'll fucking die if I leave it out too long.
Yeah.
And now people are like, dude, hearing you and Steph talk about like that. You and Steph are more the average animal owner, I think, now, where it's like you really like learn about them and shit like that.
If you're gonna again domesticate an animal, you have to choose one that is able to be domesticated.
Yeah.
And then essentially overpowered. I think that's really the question. Is anything that you can't overpower, you should not really bring into your home.
Exactly. That's literally the reason Steph's afraid of big dogs. She's like, I think I'm gonna have to walk it and it's gonna yank the shit out of me. Oh, but the point I was making is and I just lost it.
About the
I think that too, how, back in the day a lot of people looked at animals as like, it's just like a fun little thing you get and you feed it and da-da-da. And now we understand they're like a little, even though dogs and cats are pretty retarded sometimes, they're still more like complex creatures than we give them the benefit, than we give them credit for. But like, I think that was also too, back in the day, more the general viewing of animals is they don't have any thought. They don't, give a fuck about anything. They're just these empty vessels that we can do shit with.
Which is crazy because if you ever see a gorilla like watch a magic trick, it's crazy. Like they understand so much more.
Oh yeah.
A chimp or anything like that. So like putting advanced species in captivity is fucked, in my opinion. But I'm also somebody who is immensely interested in those things, and there's definitely a correlation because a lot of people say that they go like, but what if kids are really interested in animals and they want to go learn? It's always kids that they always go like, but what about my son here's the thing? It's always that. Like, take him on a safari. I'm supportive of people going out into the wilderness to go view nature and stuff like that. And I would still do that with whales, with anything else.
Yeah.
But I would go with an understanding of going like, hey, I went 2 times in my entire life to SeaWorld. I just went there to help, and I couldn't get you out, so then I had to leave.
The learning argument is such bullshit. Dude, where I grew up, actually, you remember where my wedding was?
Yeah.
Very close to there was this place called the Game Preserve, and I will give them credit. Like, obviously the wild is better than this, but a lot of those animals they brought were like hurt and shit, and they truly did give them a big fucking area.
Yeah.
And so we would go to the Game Preserve all the time, and bro, I couldn't tell you one fucking thing about these animals. I just know that when I saw the meerkats, I was like, these guys fucking rule.
Right, yeah.
And so the whole learning thing, dude, also, there's way better documentaries on fucking, like, doesn't Disney Plus have Discovery or whatever the fuck it was called? Yeah. There's way better documentaries that'll fucking be way cooler to look at than the goddamn zoo.
And that's part of it. I think in trying to encourage kids or people to like go into those things where you're just going to the alpha, or what's it called, the grizzly man point. You're gonna go back out and you're gonna just endanger yourself essentially, and maybe whoever else agrees to come out with you.
Well, you're gonna give them a fucking Disney Channel understanding of animals, because like every fucking Disney movie is putting like human emotions on these animals. And I mean, I guess with the whales, they should have them, but it's like I don't know. But maybe that's not the best point, because whatever. Go ahead.
They're also not sharing those facts. They're sharing the facts that are saying like whales live about this long. This about this happens. 1999. This is the part where it gets. This is a thing with Tilikum. Like it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of if you get in the pool, you're fucked. So a guy breaks into SeaWorld after hours, allegedly. There's speculation on what happened if he's
like a random guy.
Yeah, he hid in the park, or maybe he broke in after the fact. But he was described as a drifter who broke in, went to go swimming with the whales, and ended up dying of hypothermia. That's what it's reported to the news as. But David P. Dukes in 1999 was found draped over the back of Tilikum after he snuck in and tried to go swimming with them. Tilikum stripped him of his clothes, bit off his genitals, and imagine that, a whale's mouth to man's genitals.
Yeah.
Like, that is targeted.
The precision is unreal.
Right? And then what he did
I'd love to find out.
I'd love generally, quote, generally mutilated.
I'd love to find out how clean the bite was.
It's crazy because this Tilikum, any of these other whales attacks, anything like that, seems to have the same thing of they toy with you to death. They are playing with you. It's not necessarily just because a whale could rip you to shreds.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's probably the fact that these animals
it's calculated.
Because that was like with the chimp one. It's like the chimp's probably cool, calm the whole time. Because
20 years.
They'll be like, oh, the chimp freaked out, and I'll be like, nah, I think he was just kind of from his perspective, like protecting his shit.
Right.
Because it's like he knows the whole time I can fuck these people up. It's when from his perspective you become not chill that he's like, oh, you disrespected chimp code.
Right. Once you're a threat, then it's over. With this guy, it's like they're waiting for their time to strike. So February 24th, 2010, months after your boy was there, cheering Tilikum on, splash 'em, splash 'em. They're having a fun little dinner, dining with Shamu. It's a special VIP experience. And there's a fucking tape of it, and I want to see it.
Of you?
Don Brancho.
Oh.
Gets a little bit too close. Again, initially reported, Don Brancho, you fucked up. What were you wearing? You had a ponytail. It was another ponytail situation.
What were you wearing?
Situation.
I was wearing a full fish suit.
I was draped in fish blood, and I was flopping around on the deck.
What's your point?
It's believed initially, it is reported as trainer error. The trainer, Don Brancho, got a little too close and had her hairstyle a little different, much like the Travis the Chimp thing.
Oh.
Saying, and this is months after that.
Who knew all these animals were so locked in on hairstyles?
Hairstyles, yeah. By the way, ladies, maybe you don't always want somebody to notice.
It's crazy.
Did you get a haircut?
Honestly, we're starting to learn that in some scenarios, what were you wearing is a valid question.
So Don was initially believed that she got a little too close, and the fella came up. So.
Oh, and then the whale was like, I can't let you get close.
Yeah. Did a real fucking Chael Sonnen. I can give you I looked it up on Wiki because I wanted to. It's the detail is where it's beautiful, in my opinion. Not beautiful. It's the fact that like it wasn't just a crazy animal attack. It's so horrific.
Yeah.
But it's also in a way, like you said, so majestic. So
because you can't even the most like the fastest of animal, like you can't move, you can only move through the water at a certain rate.
Right. This isn't about survival. This is a personal attack. And it's not, I'm not saying even it's Dawn's fault, like that she's the one that deserved this attack the most.
Yeah.
But this is something that was completely avoidable, that was premeditated. He's got a fucking MO, dude. He's got a way that he likes to work. He goes after females almost, except for the guy who jumped in the tank. The fucking weirdo that gets manipulated or whatever.
Well, so, he bit his dick off and made him a female.
Yeah. Bro.
He was just giving him bottom surgery.
Dude, I know that's a joke, but that's a great point. The one male that he attacks.
Then it wasn't a joke. It was just a great point. That's why I said it.
But no, like the fact that I don't think he attacks the genitals on any other person. Even the other female person just slips in and he goes, "All right, fuck you, bitch." Because he's been attacked by females his whole life.
Yeah.
This is a classic serial killer fucking MO. You were separated from your mother and you've had poor female experiences since then.
Oh shit.
So February 24th, 2010, Brancho performed a Dine with Shamu, that'd be silly, Shamu show with Tilikum, the largest orca at SeaWorld Orlando. In the setting, guests ate at an open-air restaurant while watching the performance poolside. You just basically sit a little bit closer to the pool, like quite a bit closer to the pool, but there's still like a separating thing, I think, in between, right?
Oh man. If that was like a 90s movie, there'd be a part where someone was like, "Oh, waiter, can I get some more water?" Yeah. And then the whale would hit it, be like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, that's the fucking promo. Bro, that's a great commercial for it. Too bad they're fucking failing as a business right now. Open air restaurant, allegedly, I think. I don't know. This Blackfish did not help SeaWorld whatsoever.
What year was Blackfish?
I believe that was like a... Oh, that's actually a good point. I didn't even actually look that up. But Blackfish...
I can look it up.
It's 2013. So...
2013?
Yeah. So this is... they're watching the Tilikum perform. This was where you got to see Tilikum do like a couple special tricks, and they kind of just feed them as they go, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just give you a little preview. The ponytail thing was not necessarily the precursor. In some of the footage, you can see that people have seen is they can notice when you're coming to the end of the fish bucket, essentially. So like they could see that maybe he was getting frustrated, that he did a command, she blew a whistle, and he didn't respond to that whistle to do that trick.
Yeah.
But then did the trick after that, but didn't get rewarded because he didn't do the other one. So that technique ends up kind of failing. I will say that I think that technique could have led to her death, that the starvation as a thing, because they believe that Tilikum probably didn't hear the command, and that's why he didn't do it.
Okay.
And then when he came over and did the other thing, he was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he was near the end. He was just a little pissed.
Yeah.
So there's a part where she kind of gets close to him, and I guess she extended her arm. So we'll get into the actual nitty gritty. That's all from Pat's fucking. That's the show where I'm like, ooh boy. So as part of the end show routine. Where is it? Part of the end show routine, she was at the edge of the pool rubbing Tilikum's head. This was after that little mishap with the fish. You know what I'm saying?
Still no more heroes.
I remembered. I saw you set 2 down, and I was like, if he opens both of those during this show, he ain't getting nothing. As part of the end, so she's rubbing his head. She's lying next to him on a side out, like one of those shallow parts.
Yeah.
You know. And she's just kind of laying next to him, looking at him, petting him, going, oh, you did a good job. And then witnesses even don't know for sure what she was actually pulled in by, but I still believe that the most reasonable answer is her arm.
Yeah.
Because some of them say her shoulder or something like that, but it's her arm.
I mean, to be honest, this dude's got precision dick biting off skills.
Right. He could have been.
He could have gotten her by her fucking earlobe.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna nibble you to death, bitch.
The incident was caught on film by one of the people, which is crazy. Every couple years it pops into my head, and I do about a couple hour search trying to find that fucking footage
of this lady getting got.
The Steve Irwin footage. I've heard what I believe is the bear attack footage or the audio. Let's play for that. Steve Irwin
never got released, right?
No, they said they destroyed it. I know they didn't.
Oh, you're saying you just looked to see if it came out?
Yeah, I just want to see. I don't know. I hate the. That's when I really do get pissed off with pranks, when I'm just like, don't rickroll me now. Just don't show me whale killing people. And that's all you need to show me. But there is somebody that.
Have you been looking for whale murder footage and just hear
like, God damn it!
Never gonna give you up. There's no fucking whale, Pat, you dick.
Tilikum grabbed Brancho by her shoulder or her ponytail. Additionally, at least a dozen patrons witnessed Brancho in the water with Tilikum. The orca's moves seem to have been very quick as he pulled her down underwater and drowned her. Employees used nets to throw. So same idea as the guy, but like was pulling her down. Now, the reason I think people thought that maybe she was pulled in by her ponytail was because she was indeed scalped. He did pull her.
And you think it was arm?
Off. Well, she also had her arm torn off and swallowed. They never found it. Tilikum ate her arm.
Oh my god!
So
maybe to me that sounds like grab by ponytail, bite arm off.
Yeah, or just maybe she's doing one of these. The ponytail's hanging over the arm, and he just goes, "Ooh, 2 for 1."
2 for 1.
Like fucking a magician pulling the.
That's such a good point, dude. 2 for 1,
yeah.
Definitely.
So, but he did need a little bit of arm for a little bit because he does take her down to. Again, he's playing with her. He's pulling her underwater, drowning her.
Yeah.
So, so Brancho is in the water with Tilikum. The orca moves. The orca's moves seemed to be very quick as he pulled her underwater and drowned her. Employees used nets and threw food in the water. And he's like, "Oh, now you want to throw some food." While moving from the pool, or threw it in the water in an attempt to distract him. While moving from the pool to pool in the complex, they eventually directed Tilikum to a smaller medical pool where it would be, and that's the infamous picture I think a lot of people see, and that's probably going to be the cover art of this helicopter footage over SeaWorld Orlando, and you just see this humongous whale in this itty bitty shallow pool because he's essentially in containment.
Yeah.
Right? And at that point, most likely has Brancho in his tummy.
Oh no. He is currently turning her arm into poop.
Yeah, so where it would be easier to calm him down, apparently. After approximately 45 minutes, Tilikum released Brancho's body.
Oh.
The autopsy report shows that Brancho died from drowning and blunt force trauma. Her spinal cord was severed, and she has sustained fractures in her jawbone, ribs, and cervical vertebrae. So her scalp was completely torn off her head, her left arm was torn off, and her knee had been dislocated. Should have started with that.
What happened? Doc, what happened to her? She was inside of a whale.
Yeah. Bro, I truly believe if this hadn't happened in front of people that were videotaping it, like, they would have been like, skydiving accident, Doc. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the way, it's reported this now, 2009, the internet and or social media is probably, like, maybe people say blackfish is probably a huge reason why SeaWorld is lowering, or they stopped their whale.
Yeah.
Their breeding, their everything. They're just basically, we'll use what we got, and then we'll just.
Yeah.
So they held on to Tilikum for years and years and years. He ends up dying.
When was this? 08, 09?
2010. So 7 years. He ends up dying on January 6, 2017 from a bacterial lung infection because he was even downgraded from the space he had. The exercise, he wasn't used in shows anymore. He wasn't used for breeding. They just had him in containment for the last 7 years of his life. So
oh my God.
It's pretty horrific, but it's also like there's lots of red flags. There was incredible, like, horrific damage done by this, but I think it's truly the internet that was the downfall, not necessarily just Blackfish, because apparently a lot of trainers were made aware that an orca had attacked a trainer. And they're like, "Oh my God, that's terrible." And they're like, "Oh, who is it?" They're trying to figure out all this other stuff, and they're like, No. He still has her right now. And they're like, "What?" Like, a lot of the trainers are like, "It's happening right now?"
Yeah.
And a lot of them are, and when they found out it was Don, because Don was, and I'm not blaming the trainers, except for that feed and shit. This was just a misunderstanding, but because of those practices and his upbringing, I think it just pushed him over the edge, and he saw an opportunity, and it just was a thing where it's crazy because Don Brancho, just like all the other trainers, was incredibly compassionate.
Yeah,
was not one of the abusers. I would assume, like, she's just somebody who's really professional, and everybody was shocked when they found out it was her that did it, and then they found out that SeaWorld was blaming her because of what she was wearing. So essentially, it was, I think, a lot of things that kind of led,
hey, SeaWorld, this isn't a state college. You can't use that.
Right? Yeah, dude, it's nuts because it's completely avoidable.
Yeah,
in the sense that, like, I don't know what you can even. This is a part where I believe it is so much more humane as of right now to put all of these whales out of their misery, and just stop because at this point you're just making, now he's just suffering for something that he was.
Well, this kind of shit's so, like, the problem. It's so funny you said that, because I was, like, kind of thinking about that earlier, where it's like, what's the solution? They're like, can you imagine the cops being like, "Hey, you guys can't have that whale," and they're like, Wait, we get the whale now? What the fuck do we even do?
Yeah, we're not going to confiscate your whale.
Yeah, it literally...
We can't put it back in the ocean because we don't know where we stole it from originally.
That's why you almost need, like, certain processes where you're like, all right, so we've all deemed what you're doing is horrible. But, like, there's really no solution. This is just sad.
Yeah.
So you...
Stop.
You get to ride this one out.
Yeah.
Everyone else, don't do it.
I honestly, I really do feel like the people, the better punishment would be feed him to the whale. Like, you got a bloodthirsty whale, give him some fucking.
You get to feed one of the CEOs to the whale.
Yes,
that would be sick, dude.
I'm telling you right now, the United Healthcare guys, they were like, they're shooting us. We better shape up a little bit.
If I had to get
the anesthesia thing, they're like, we're just joking about that, and we're just switching back. And these CEOs were like, this is how we train the whales. We starve them. How do we get them? Scare them with explosive and then kill their parents in front of them, fill them with rocks. They were doing things in such a comically, horrifically terrible way.
Wait, and that, by the way, that film with rocks thing, I meant to ask you this earlier. That's because where they were... So wait, they were separating the families, getting whales, and bringing them back for whale performances.
Whaling, yeah.
But they can't get all of them. So rather than...
Well, it was shipping. It's shipping, and it's like just more cost productive to get a baby whale. And then just try to like basically just
and if
training, all that other stuff.
Okay, so if you're capturing a baby whale, you're gonna have to deal with a mom and dad whale fucking you up.
Yeah.
So you just kill them, and then because it's dude, because when you say
they were very vague about how the whales died in the process. I was like, how did they? Because a lot of times they can be empathetic, where like if one of them beaches themselves, all of the other whales will come there in support to try to help them, but also end up beaching themselves in the same way. So like they're incredibly intelligent and very empathetic animals. So they were mourning either the dead whales that died trying to save the young people, or the ones that were actually young. So like
it's just filling them with rocks is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, I get it, like logically.
Well, they thought
if you just set emotions aside, logically, I guess I get it, because this is also too back in the day.
Yeah.
But just the sentence, we filled these whales with rocks.
Bro, they tied anchors to their tail, filled them with rocks, and sunk them to the bottom to avoid what the guy initially. First of all, the guy was very emotional explaining this, and I do like if he was like, "Hey, we're gonna go catch a whale." It is incredibly interesting at first, but then when you see you're just terrifying these whales into a corner and then stealing their baby and then leaving with their baby, and then any adults that died in the process of saving those babies, you're going to go ahead and just cut them open, fill them with rocks, tie anchors to their tails to hide them. And he thought, best case scenario, he's like, oh, this is probably a PR thing because they don't, like Puerto Ricans, they don't want they don't want to ruin their parade. No, he's like, I thought this was like a SeaWorld like PR thing. They don't.
That's why they don't let dolphins at the Puerto Rican parade, because they fight over who gets to rape. Yeah. They're like, dolphins are like, today we rape, today you stab.
Yeah. That's the Spanish guy.
That's the dolphin.
But yeah, I think it's just nuts to like, it's never not been horrific.
So the element of like this animal shit that you're making me realize over these past 3 episodes is I never fully considered the degree of it's them just getting lucky.
Yeah.
And now I'm beyond fascinated of the hubris in the quote unquote animal trainers.
Yeah.
Like
it's tryouts, dude. They go, you're interested in this? It's almost like they treat it like a boot camp. Like, how many of you can handle it? So, like, if you can stand getting into the water with one of them and doing the commands that the person said, it's them saying, like, you get in there, I'm going to blow the whistle twice, and you make sure you tense your legs up really tight. And they're like, what? And they're like, just do it.
Yeah.
If you do that, then you qualify. But you're willing to do it.
No, that is true. And the other thing I was getting at, too, it's like, just like the hubris of like, yo, go get me a whale.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to facilitate an establishment that can control whales.
Yeah. Well,
it's all very fascinating.
And again, they have this. It's just it's closer to a prison like treatment, like a poorly run prison than it is a zoo.
Yeah.
Like that's why like zoos, at least again, they try to like, oh, we're gonna make it look like your habitat a little bit. This is nothing like their habitat. This is nothing like their eating habits. This is nothing like their social abilities and or preferences. Like you're not doing anything that they want to do. So.
You were saying, what were you saying? The dolphin exhibit is when you were like, this is bad.
Well, this is when I was like, what is going on here?
You know what? Yeah. You know what which one was for me? And I could also just have a misunderstanding of these animals. But I'm in the like fucking game preserve, which once again is probably the better case scenario, but still not great.
Yeah.
I'm at the game preserve in the Lehigh Valley, and we go to like a penguin exhibit. And I'm like, it's like the middle of the summer, and then we're outside, and my little kid brain goes like, wait a minute. They're penguins.
This ain't right.
It ain't cold out here.
They don't like this.
That literally was the moment I started questioning zoos.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I've been told I think there isn't there like one penguin that's like, yeah, it can be like 60 for me. Yeah. And there's like one penguin that's like that, but like everything you're told in life is like penguin's cold. Right. And then you see a penguin in the middle of a Pennsylvania summer, and you're like, this just doesn't add up.
It doesn't make you feel like, and again, in Florida, in the middle, like in the middle of whatever, and I didn't even clear like. There are a lot of attacks that I left out. Like it's not like an isolated thing. This happens a lot, and it's injury. So the thing that you'll be interested in this, I think, is the changes that were made by OSHA after certain like things, like where the work like
OSHA goes, send them to the ocean. Thank you guys. Andy Malfrey, a professional comedian.
But it's like that's the thing. It's like they go in there and they say like this is unsafe work environments. You're like, oh, the swimming with the whale, yeah, I agree.
Well, you know what it is?
There was a certain amount of risk for sure that there was being accepted.
There's a certain level of like, yeah, you swim with whales, it's dangerous.
But OSHA still tried to help. They were like, don't get in the water with this whale. I guess I don't know. Like, so they were trying to legitimize it. It seems, but there was like, I don't think there's any legitimate way that OSHA could say. Yes, this is we're going to approve this. Well, there was just a bunch of stuff being covered up or not reported.
It's like when I've heard like horror stories of like women getting breast implants.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of people don't talk about this, but there's a lot of times with breast implants that it actually makes the woman like her body's like rejecting it. Mm-hmm. And that's how there's always a degree to that with like breast implants in general. It's like the woman's like the body's rejecting the breast implant, and you're always just trying to figure out a way. And it's like the only solution is just take the implants out. Yeah. And it's the same thing where it's like, all right, like with
it's just not working.
Whales are like titties, guys. And sometimes you want big fat whales, and your body's going to retract those whales.
Like I wanted to see the biggest floppiest whales.
Yeah, but like it's just the nature of the beast. And now I'm talking about titties. No, but the nature of the whale is just like, no, I don't. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. So it's just a process of like constantly rejecting the environment they're in.
And there's just a bunch of times where people got lucky.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the only difference. So
damn.
So it's crazy that the similarities between a lot of, and the fact that there's no certification really needed to be had by whale trainers. They just, if you can do it, then you're in. And also considering the turnover, there's a lot of them dying. So they're probably like, well, what? Hey, wait, you're the Andy Malafarina? Wait a minute. Yeah, we heard about you. Like, we heard you were really good with whales. You want to get in with that one?
They're like,
and they see him and they're like, he's not killing him. He's not killing him. He's not. Yeah, you're a natural. He's not killing him. He's not killing him.
They're just like,
he's not killing him.
You're just like, hey, what's the qualification of being a whale trainer? They're like,
have you ever been killed by a whale?
They're like, hey,
no? You're in.
Do you want to do it? And you're like, I do. And you're like, welcome to SeaWorld.
You're already in a wetsuit.
You're like, hey, look at me. Look down. Oh!
You're on top of a whale. Oh my God, I don't like this. I want it out. You said you wanted it, birdie.
They're like, Pat, they're like, look at me, look down. You're in a wetsuit. Look up. That's a whale jumping you. You're just in the middle of Free Willy. Wow, yeah, this is crazy. I didn't suspect. Man, Pat, you are A+ at writing down information and repeating it. I didn't realize how much I was going to learn about animals this month.
There's so much of this shit that's I have my own just personal thoughts and feelings about, but then a lot of like the facts, and I'm like, no, I retain that. I always like doing a little refresher by watching something. So again, I would suggest checking out the documentary Blackfish. It is super damning against SeaWorld, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that go, it's a liberal agenda or whatever. To me, it's pretty cut and dry.
I don't know.
The advanced being that we're forcing...
Well, it's not that dry. It's at SeaWorld. Guys, thank you. Hey!
And they're definitely cutting off arms.
Give me some of your money.
Yeah.
That was a good joke. Give me your money.
If we get 1,300 patrons, we will get scalped by a whale.
Yes.
For you.
For us. Pat will get his ponytail in a whale.
Yeah. In a pony twale.
What's your... Because, like, it feels corny, but I got to be perfectly honest. I'm like... I don't know if I'm going to hold a sign and march with people, but, like, I'm pretty anti-zoo.
Yeah, at this point, no matter how much I'm interested in it, if it's a safari where we're going to go where they are... Or like I would do one of those shark, like you get in a shark cage and they dip you in there. Where I'm like, I'm willing to accept the risk to see the amazing thing.
That's a great point. Yeah, figure out safe ways to visit.
I'm going to become a whale trainer. Actually,
wait. Do you want to be one?
Yeah.
Hey Pat, guess what?
What?
You're a whale trainer.
I quit. I'm going to be rich and or dead. I would like to know, they never talked about the pay.
You said it was good earlier.
No. Wait, what do you mean?
I asked you something about pay, and I thought you said it was really good.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
As far as I know.
We must have misunderstood each other in our
must
exchange.
have been something else, but it's not like necessarily.
Oh, because I was right. I was trying to figure out the pay. Oh, that's what I was asking about. Because I was like, is whale training a job that you kind of like? You might be a marine biologist or you're a swimmer, and it's like whale training can be like working at SeaWorld can be like a side job. The way that if you do anything, like anyone who works at a hospital was an EMT for it, like at some point.
Yeah.
Is it like some training shit or?
The funniest thing is, I think the more qualified you are for this job, the less likely you are to do this job because you're like. No, whales are highly intelligent. Why would you get in there with them? They are not happy. That's not normal.
That's such a good point. The more you know about a whale, the less you would want to fuck with one.
Yeah, if you were a whale expert, there's no chance in hell you would ever do that job.
Damn, that's a really good point.
So, like, they're not only not experts, they're the polar opposite. They are dum-dums. Mm-hmm. Hey, but I love you. I identify with you, and that's the scary part for you guys. Yeah. If you are a trainer or ex-trainer at SeaWorld, look out. You're dumb.
It kind of
You're so stupid. You are the dumbest motherfucker alive, and that's terrifying that you have a license to drive a car, if that's the case.
It kind of correlates, too, to a broader problem with the...
Women, right.
Yes, women.
Women.
Yes.
Women.
Women. It's just, that's the whale. I hate women. I love women. Yeah. Eat them. Ripping their ponytails off. Women.
I ain't gay no more.
No,
that guy ain't got a dick no more.
I was going to say, it's like, there's like talking about this animal training stuff. It correlates to one of my critiques of like the American individualist, American dream mindset. I'm a big fan of individualism and the American dream and stuff like that. But there's this element to it that's unrealistic and it like fucks people up where it goes like, you can be whatever you want. And it's like, you can't.
No.
But there's always something you could be great at. Right. And it's like, it's not accepting, it's this thing. There's a lot of people that get caught up in the American dream that just don't want to accept the parameters of the reality.
Yeah, you can't be anything that you want because there's certain things that nobody should be.
And that's the thing.
And one of them is whale training.
Yeah, and there's this like that hubris. And there's something beautiful about the American hubris, but at the same time, and I'm sure people were training animals in every other fucking country, but at the same time, there is this also thing where you're like, I can train an orca because I am, who I am.
Whether it be I have an understanding with him or I have this. If you had an understanding with him, he wouldn't have ripped your scalp off and ate your arm, madam.
Yeah. You like that ponytail? Or you like that ponytail you had?
What ponytail?
If you had an understanding, you'd still have that ponytail. All right, this is a great fucking episode. So next week, we're hitting a hard dismount on Siegfried and Roy, right?
Yeah, we're going double tigers, baby.
Hell yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys next week. Fuck you.